This podcast is powered by Shea Moisture Men. The Shea Moisture Men collection was designed to provide head-to-toe care for men of color and keep you looking fresh and feeling even fresher. Shea Moisture's products are formulated, that's a weird word, with ingredients that are naturally derived and sustainably sourced from hair care to beard care to body care. See which line will provide you with safe and uncompromising care at www.sheamoisturemen.com. Shea Moisture Men, built to serve men of color. Now back to the podcast.
Let's go. Woo. That 172?
I think so.
Not
2 weeks off? Had an away game,
You know what I mean? Almost a freestyle.
That would be a no. If you haven't noticed by now, like, this is a very different situation with the podcast. Like, I mean, not very different. We have guests sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to.
We busy out here.
Well,
the world generous speaking.
Yes. What's going on? It feels good to be back, man. It's good to be back.
And of course, it's me.
Shop like Shaq. You waste you.
As I mentioned, this is different. We have a guest. It is nobody that is not familiar to myself, and he's very familiar to all of my friends. And I can never pinpoint as to like when you have met any of them, but it's definitely been a party or drinks happening, and you're in the kitchen or by the bar talking to the youngins. This is my godfather. I've known you since I've existed.
Before.
We've known each other from before I was in my physical form.
Correct.
We have Wayne Harris in the building. Make some noise. Welcome.
Godfather.
Yes, the Godfather.
Literally.
Yeah.
Times 2. Where's the leak?
And he's busy planning his escape. He's got stuff to do. He barely has time for this podcast, but that's another conversation for another time. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for being here with you guys.
Yes.
I need a beard, obviously.
Hey, use some shade. We'll get you there, man.
You know what? And I need some contacts because I'm the only one here with glasses on.
I had contacts, but I couldn't do it. Like, it just... The times that I tried to do the contacts, I had like a basketball game within like 30 minutes and I had to leave. So I either left without the contacts or I left with the contacts in and bloodshot eyes.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how I got contacts in the first place. It was high school sports. I had to. There's no one playing baseball with glasses on. You dumb? Or basketball looked like James Worthy. I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah. But if you had game and you got the big goggles.
Yeah, but see, I didn't have game. So like, Oh, wow.
And look at you, Stefan. Look at you,
Stefan.
Stefan.
What I mean? But you know what I mean? No one has to know.
But yeah, it's been a couple weeks, Patrick. How have you been, my friend?
Bro, it's been what? Yeah, 2 weeks.
Two.
So I got to give a shout out to the wife that's in the building.
Hey.
We celebrated our 1 year wedding anniversary.
What?
So big up to us.
Nice.
You know. Bomb.
Black love.
There you go. There we go. So yeah, that was definitely, had to take a little time off to celebrate, the nuptials and everything like that.
How does one celebrate nuptials and black love? I have yet to have a 1 year anniversary.
Blood clot desert eagles.
When you get there, the way the economy is kind of right now, we kind of scaled down a little bit, but we spent some time in Niagara Falls, as one does, and man, did a little couples massage, did a little winery tour and stuff, and it was blessed, man. It was blessed. Can't complain.
What's so? How do you feel about couples massage? Like, are you guys just like looking at each other while it's just getting done? Are you just in the same room, sharing the experience?
Nah, it's sharing the experience. I'm pretty sure like eyes were closed. Well, my eyes were closed.
My eyes were closed.
Yeah. Damn. Okay.
Don't be aggressive. She's like, it's shady if his eyes were open. Like, what's wrong with this man?
I don't know what was that man doing. I don't know. No, we'll talk about that later. But
was it the 60-minute or the 90-minute?
We did 60 minutes. 60 minutes. Yeah, 60 minutes.
Massage her and a female massage massage you?
That's exactly.
That's a very good question. Very good question.
That's exactly what we did. That's exactly what we did.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. So, it was blessed. Like I can't even we needed that. You know, life gets stressful. You know what I mean? And just getting that time to unwind and just decompress and just be in that zone. Highly recommend. Couple massage. Highly recommended. Definitely.
I agree.
Definitely.
So now you have to outdo yourself next year.
I mean, I don't know about outdoing. I don't know, because we talked about this, and I could say this like with my chest comfortably. Yeah. But we said we want to make our tradition will be wellness. So our anniversaries will be spent doing some sort of wellness activity for both of us. So it might be a massage, and maybe we do the massage and something else, but we definitely want to spend the time.
So you don't want to outdo yourself in wellness?
You can
I mean, I don't like the idea of saying outdo though. I don't know. I just want to just have that time.
Better?
Hold on, let's continue to press this guy. So you're not trying to do
better. You don't want to. So you
don't want to have a better time than you did last
bro.
year.
Level up.
Yeah, no.
I'm just hearing a year later, Patrick wants to be the same. I don't know.
Patrick's like everything should be the same always.
Hold on, can I turn my fan on now? Can I do this now? Like, what's going on?
Gotta level up.
Yeah, no, we will.
Celebrating
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, damn.
Blue Mountain next year. Blue Mountain.
Yeah. Okay, listen.
That's a level up.
Listen, the level up happens. The finances level up. You get more experiences. You level up that way.
3% extra every
it's
year.
Never going to be the same. It's never going to be the same. We're just basing it around a theme. So the theme will be wellness. What we do will be a step up.
Even at Shoppers, you get 33% more. That's all I'm saying.
You know what I mean? But
okay.
Yeah. So
I like it.
Yeah. So that's kind of been the flex that we've been on, is just celebrating that. And my sister's been in town, so I got to give her a shout out real quick.
Come back, Sissy.
Yeah.
She brought all the goodies. She brought some sweets.
Yeah. Love it.
She brought baked goods, not sweets. She brought baked goods. That means that came from her heart and her soul and her hands and her talent.
It came from her heart and soul. Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's exactly, yeah, exactly, all that.
This is also a season high in gunshots per minute.
This is crazy. So. Even this is like another Scarborough pod, but that's been me. That's been my life the past couple of weeks, man. But how have you been?
Oh, I've been great. My weeks have been busy and planning and for wedding and
yes.
I don't know, work, podcast, leveling up,
type
conversations.
Oh yeah,
getting rid of this trusty audio mixer that I hope this is the last episode I see you, but I love you. But we
love
much.
We gotta have a ceremony. We gotta have a send off. I feel like this is like the send off pod for it.
Yeah, we'll put it off on a boat in Lake Ontario. Hope it hits
light it on fire and
No, you have to have an arrow.
A Valhalla. So after Valhalla.
What's crazy? There is no.
Yeah.
If I flip this mixer over to the bottom, there's no bottom, and all of the coils are rusted. It's a miracle that this thing does what it does.
I don't know how we're here.
It's actually a hazard if I put batteries in. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how I got to this mixer, how much I hate it, and how I'm excited for the new one. But we were recently on the Extra Gravy podcast a couple days ago, which is pretty big. And shout out to Marlon, Alicia, and Norm over there. Intern and the white dude named Patrick. I believe we gotta shout the whole set.
Patrick Squared, man. Shout out to the whole crew.
His name's
Matt, yeah.
Hey, listen, I went there and I'm like, I'm Shaq. Nice to meet you. I kind of know their personas. Nice to meet you. And he's like, I'm the intern, if you follow. I'm like, all right, intern.
All right.
I was trying to put some respect on your name, and you gonna. But if you want to be that's cool.
That's like when you guys used to refer to me as a producer before anyone knew who I was.
Yeah.
And I was talking stuff on the sides.
True.
That's for your listeners that are loyal listeners. I hear you every
The inside crew.
No, it's true.
Okay, in case you've been one of those guys, I'm the intern, but his name is Matt, and he smashed it.
And I do fuck with the personas, and I fuck with Matt's photography. That was awesome.
Yes,
got some good shots.
That was good.
Unfortunately, Patrick was very quiet that episode.
Not by choice. I was talking a lot.
Yosemite Pat.
I was like, here.
So yeah, his I mean.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but whatever. The experience was lit. It was good to be with all of them. You know what I mean? But I'm here. You can hear me now. I'm here.
Your mic is working.
Yeah.
No, I made sure your mic was louder than everybody's.
Yeah, I can tell. I appreciate it. But no, that was lit, man. And shout out to Abaka too. Like that was
Yeah.
That was crazy, you know. They're doing a good thing over there, man, and like it was just dope to be in the presence of people who were like us, you know, started around the same time with the podcast game and just being around other creators. Like, I love that experience, man.
Yeah, I love when I bring up something that I feel like is just near and dear to our come up.
Yeah.
And it's really not. It's like, yeah, people come, they go. People struggle with life and balancing the pod and blah, blah, blah. And every single time it was like a affirmation of like, yeah, that shit's normal if you're trying to be somewhat consistent in what you're doing and all of that. But Godfather Wayne, you're here.
Yes.
I am.
I'm really excited for you to be here for this one reason alone. Being a millennial, growing up in the school system that I grew up in, we're educated people here. We actually did the whole university, all that stuff.
Yep.
I can't say I learned what you do for a living in a way where I finished school, I started my job, and I can say, okay, my money's supposed to do this. This money's gonna go there. I gotta make sure I get this insurance. I gotta do I started and like, especially from a West Indian household, and like thankfully my dad's a bank man, so you know that. But like typically they're telling you, save, hold on to all your coins that you can, stack it up in that bank account, and that's pretty much the best advice that I can say that I recall even growing up.
Yeah. Don't spend it foolishly. You know, like don't buy bottles.
Well, let me preface it with this.
Well, can you start with what you do?
Yeah. Who are you? What do you do?
Who are you?
That's where I was going. What do you do?
My
And why are
name
you
is
qualified to
Wayne.
tell us anything about money?
So there's Lil Wayne and there's Big Wayne. I'm Big Wayne. I don't have the coin he has. But let me tell you, I do insurance and investments.
Yeah.
I'm a broker, so that means I get to pull the best of the best from the market and create a financial cocktail for you that is bespoke for you. So
like that.
Patrick and I would sit down, we would go through what he has, what the gaps are, and I would give recommendations. His recommendations would be different than yours because you might be in different places at this point in your life. But the bottom line is to make sure that no family is left in a position where if something were to happen catastrophic to a person in that family, the rest of the family would be on the hook to take care of those folks. So if you see people out there doing GoFundMe and tin cupping, you know, we're going to have a first offertory for the church, then we're going to have another one for Sister So-and-so because she passed and there's nothing for her. We're trying to avoid those situations. Money's been around a long time, thousands and thousands of years, yet money is misunderstood. So my job is to bring the financial concepts and the financial knowledge that's available to everyone, but you have to know the context of where to get the information that's relevant to you. So there's a lot of information out there, but of that information, what of it is relevant to you and why don't you know anything about it? It's kind of by design, because how does the government make money? Taxes.
Taxes. Yeah.
So if the government makes money with taxes, why would the government show you how to avoid
Paying
taxes?
Right.
The fix is in.
And that's why we're ignorant to all this stuff. Yeah.
Facts.
So you go through K to 12, and you may learn how to budget if you take a class
Essentials
in
math.
personal economics or
Not
essentials
yet.
math.
Right.
But
Seriously.
the school system is designed to create employees.
Right.
And the school system is designed for you to go to school until you're 18 or 21, come out, work 30 to 40 years for somebody else, and die within 20 years of retirement. So you work your entire life to get maybe 20 years, because the average death of a person in Canada, male, is 84, and a woman's 85. So you retire at 65 and you get 20 years and then you're out, but you worked 40 years to get 20. Now I've been to vacations where I see people in those age groups trying to live their best life with their camera, hiking up Machu Picchu.
You
at
can't
80.
enjoy it the same way you want it to when you're stacking.
All right. So we need to understand something, and the word of the day is compounding. You need to understand how to compound your effort in whatever it is you choose to be your vocation, but you also need to learn how to compound your money. But compounding your money is asset accumulation. making more. What you need to look at as well is asset preservation. How do I stop taxes and inflation from eating into my money?
Yes.
So case in point.
Hold on. If you haven't grabbed a pen and paper at this
write
point,
this down. This is the time.
Grab it.
So think about this. You put your money in a bank. You put your money in a savings account. Don't name the name of the bank. It could be the red bank, the blue bank, whatever bank, light blue or dark blue bank. All right?
Tangerine one,
The
too.
green,
Yeah.
right? All the different colors.
No pun intended.
Just for the people who are here, scream out what the rate of return is on your savings account. What interest rate are they giving you on your savings account?
Like point.
No, this is not non-existent,
No,
really.
0.00.
On a savings account?
Savings account.
Nothing.
Never heard
Wait, TFSA
just
or
regular
regular?
savings account.
Regular savings account.
Regular, nothing. You're not getting any money off that.
Never heard it.
Okay, so if you're not making any money on that, have you heard of the rule of 72?
Yes.
No.
All right. Rule of 72 is simple. It's take the number 72, divide it by your rate of return, and it will tell you how many years it will take for your money to double.
Wow.
So if you have 0.1% on your savings account, 72 divided by 0.1, right. So you can see that's going to be 720 years from $1 to become 2.
Who am I, Noah? Like what? Dog.
Right.
Yeah.
So some banks will give you a high interest savings account. What's a high
Right.
interest savings account?
Like
Maybe it's 0.5%.
wow.
Maybe with some of the secondary banks, it could be 1.5%. 72 divided by 1.5 is still in the high 60s. Years for $1 to become 2.
Wow.
Now, because black don't crack, everybody in here will look like this for the next 30, 40 years. But you don't have the time
Right.
to have money take
Yeah.
72 years or more to double.
Nope.
If you want to retire at a time when you have enough money. Retirement doesn't have anything to do with 65. It has everything to do if you have less expenses and you have cash flow coming in.
Right.
As soon as that number stays there and is steady,
Retire.
as they say in Mississauga, Bob's your uncle. You're done. Okay.
So,
That's crazy.
You're telling all of this, which that makes sense and is blowing some people's minds. I'm sure if they're really thinking about how big their savings accounts are, full of cash and nothing really growing. What is and you mentioned how basically the government makes money off of taxes and there's no real incentive to really educate the people. Mm-hmm. How are we supposed to, or how's the normal person supposed to know any of this stuff?
Exactly.
Right. So again, there's the interwebs where you can go to different places, and there's a lot of YouTubers and whatnot. But again, some of these people are not licensed professionals, and they'll say so. I'm not a licensed professional. Go to a financial advisor to get your advice.
Right.
So if you go to a financial advisor, you want them to begin with you in mind, not their
They're working on behalf of the
commission in
bank,
mind.
though.
Yeah, but they're usually working with the bank. Yeah.
Some of them are. So what they call a captive agent. A captive agent is someone who can only offer you what their company offers.
Right.
So you work for company X, you can only offer X. If there's Y, Z, 1, 2, 3 available, you will never mention it because you can't get paid on it. But if you're a broker, you can go across the spectrum. So what you want to look at is somebody who's in the business who can give you multiple offers rather than one. So think about this. The dark blue and gold bank. I won't name the name. Dark blue and gold.
Love it.
Yeah.
Right? The dark blue and gold bank?
Yeah.
If you went to dark blue and gold bank and asked them if the green bank had a better rate on a car loan, a better rate on a mortgage, would they tell you?
No.
Exactly. So the fix is in. So there's a bias implicit if you go with someone who's captive. They're going to take care of themselves.
Right.
Hopefully they take care of you, and I'm not saying they don't, but if they don't have the ability to shop the market for you, you're going to... Competition lowers prices.
Yes.
We know this to be true.
Yes.
So if there's no competition, then the price is the price. So we're not looking for monopoly situations. There's oligopoly within the banks right now. So you have a few players rather than many players. So monopoly is one player, oligopoly is a few players. Then there's open market competition. So as a broker, I'm closer to open market competition than I am monopoly or oligopoly. For you to understand money, you need to understand that money is a concept. We all agree that the money is worth something.
Right.
But it's paper.
Yeah.
And it's debt.
Yes.
So if the money is debt and the money is just paper and you don't assign a value to it, then the money is worthless.
Right.
So if you go to certain countries, they have $1 million bills. $1 million bill to go buy a Coke. Why?
Shout out to Yard.
Shout out to many
So
places. Yeah.
why is that? Because the confidence in that money
Yeah.
is lower than the confidence of money in other geos. Now, there used to be something called the gold standard, and money was tied to gold. You had, in order for you to have the money out there, it had to be backed by gold.
Right.
Then they got off that in the 70s in the U.S., and the rest of the world started getting off that, and now it's just paper, and we believe the U.S. dollar is worth $1 and the British pound is worth $1,
Well, who
whatever,
says so?
because we all agree. But if we all disagree, Venezuela, we
Yes,
all disagree.
yes.
I think it's Kenya where they have the $1 million bill. People, it causes inflation because you need more dollars to buy the same thing you were buying yesterday.
Right.
So a house that would cost you $420,000, and then there's inflation. Now that house costs you $840.
Damn.
$840,000.
Toronto.
It's the same house, but inflation has caused the house to require you to have more money because the dollar has been weakened.
Right.
So what we're going through now in Canada is inflation. So rather than 2%, which is what the Bank of Canada is supposed to keep it at,
Right.
2, 3%, 2, 3, 2, 3, we're at 7% as of today. It was 7.6 last month. It's 7%. So if you have money in any investment that is not earning 7%, you're not even at zero.
Jeez.
So if you're at 0.5, you're at 0.1, you're at 1.5, hey, I'm going to give you a GIC, a guaranteed investment certificate at 4.5%. Sounds great.
Right.
Except
still, yeah.
inflation's at 7%.
Damn.
So
Yeah, basically.
okay, so
Basically,
I
they
want to
got
go
us.
back a little bit because
Yeah.
I feel like some of the people listening might be like, okay, I got you, and
Yeah.
some of the people,
They're
this
just
might
like,
be
what?
the first time they're hearing all these percentages
Yeah.
Right.
and GICs and all of this stuff. So
That's a
I
new
want
rapper, yo.
there's two different buckets of people that I want to talk to right
Sure.
now.
Yeah.
I want to go back to, and if I'm going to relate it to myself, Shaquille, when he just finishes school, gets his first big boy job.
Hey.
What do I do now that I got my first big boy job? I probably got
Bottles
some
at Time Nightclub. What?
from Purple Company that I was working at.
Yeah.
And what do I do when I'm there? I've got some student debt that I've got to take care of.
Right.
Other than that, I'm living at home. What am I doing with this money?
Right. It's a great question. And
It's just going in.
you happen to have a very, very intelligent father and mother who have come up through teenagers to adults, and they had to figure it out. But your father worked at a bank, so he had access to all the information, and he learned how to weaponize it in his family's favor. So the first thing I want to do is I want to look at my cash flow. What's coming in, what's going out. It's a budget. Who has a budget here written down in an Excel spreadsheet somewhere?
I have a
what's
couple
coming in.
versions.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
That's
Good.
that's
This
there.
is fantastic to see.
Finally, but yeah.
So once you have the budget, you're going to see. What was that?
I said finally. The same.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. He's so chill. I didn't know, you know.
So we want to know. We want to know what you have left at the end of the month, and based on what you have left at the end of the month, we want to see what decisions we can make. Also, we want to see where you're spending the money.
Right.
I do financial needs analysis for people, and they say, listen, I've got $400 in susu, right? So I'm doing the partner meeting susu,
Partner, yes.
right?
Top the things.
So I'm going to put my money in and give it to a banker who's a friend.
Yeah.
He's going to take my money, and 12 weeks later, I'm going to get my money back.
Right.
So
Yeah.
this is forced savings, which is good,
Yes.
but it makes zero interest, which is bad. Here's a question for you. What if the banker dies before your hand comes up?
God.
Gone.
it's gone,
And
yeah.
guess what? You can't even complain to any regulatory authority because it's illegal to be doing the banking. It's shadow banking. You can't do it. So you go to the police, you took my money. She's going to say it's a part of my estate.
Dang.
And I'm the beneficiary, and it's over for your money. So why would you put your money at full risk
Curtains.
and have 0% return? How? I understand why they did it, and the history of Susu is
It's an
basically,
evil world we live in.
you know, people were saying black people put their money into a bank, and the man said, you didn't put nothing in, but I didn't have any recourse, so I said we're going to stop giving the money to the white man, and we're going to go do the money amongst ourselves, which is fantastic. It's a great way. People have saved their family back home with barrels. They have bought homes in the Caribbean with the money. They put themselves through school, bought houses and cars with Susu Partner Meeting. I get it. But today we have something called a tax-free savings account.
Hey.
Yeah.
And we do not
Yep.
need, in Canada, with tax-free savings account in the United States, is the Roth IRA. We do not need to do partner anymore. It served its purpose. I appreciate it. It was great. My parents did it. But today you have a tax-free savings account with the Canadian Depository Insurance Corporation, allowing you to guarantee that they will guarantee your money up to $100,000. So you have complete safety and security within the system, and your money is in a place where you have recourse, one of the big institutions.
What does recourse mean?
The ability to go back and say, you did me dirty. And someone will care.
That anybody don't
someone
know.
will care.
We can say we have receipts.
Yeah.
We can say we have receipts. We got receipts,
Facts.
yo.
Right?
Yeah.
So the tax-free savings account was invented by Stephen Harper in 2009.
What?
It's that new?
Stephen Harper?
Stephen Harper.
Do I have to shout out Stephen Harper right now?
Nah, we don't.
Stephen Harper.
We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. We don't need to.
If you were 18 years old,
I mean, all right.
One gunshot.
One gunshot. One, yeah.
Listen, you gotta
Yeah.
take the baby.
Yeah. We'll give him one.
he had many things going on. Some for you, some not so much for you. But this one was for you.
This one was for us. I got you.
So as of 2022, if you were 18 and a Canadian in 2009, from then till now, you can put $81,500 into a tax-free savings account without paying any tax on that money ever again, and without paying tax on everything you earn in that account ever again.
So genius.
How do I get
It's
that money?
unbelievable. So where can you get them? You can get them from banks and investment firms. You can also get them from insurance companies. There's a difference. Go ahead. Question.
How many can you have? Only one, right?
You can have as many as you like, but you're paying fees to each one. But the total amount has to be $81,500 that you can put in. It can be separate.
Right, but it has to be
$81,500 is the sum of all the TFSAs you have.
True.
Okay, so that's good. So there's two types, really. There's a mutual. Well, you can put a seg fund into a self-directed account, which means you can put stock in there. So imagine buying Amazon and Microsoft and RBC and TD and putting into TFSA. That's an equity, which are stocks. You're buying parts of companies and you're a shareholder in the company, and you can put that into a tax-free savings account and run it. If you are a bad man, if you know what you're doing, because you could lose your shirt if you don't know what you're doing if you put the wrong things in there. But that can happen anyway. Next thing you can do is put in something called a mutual fund. A mutual fund is a fraction of companies pooled together. So it's a basket of companies that you own. So rather than just owning one bank, you can own all the banks in a mutual fund. Right? It's fantastic. So you can buy that. But the mutual fund can be different sectors. So you can have what we call geolocation. So it could be Europe, it could be America, it could be Canada, it could be Pacific. That's geolocation diversity. Then it could be industry diversity. Resources, manufacturing, banking, healthcare, automotive, retail. Right? So you want to diversify and put your money in different places, because sometimes when money is growing in one sector, it's going backwards in another.
Right.
Sometimes when retail is going well, gold is down. So you can mix and match, and that's called a portfolio. And the portfolio is based on risk. So what level of risk do you want? From super conservative, like almost down to Susu levels, like give me nothing but don't lose me money.
Right.
And the bank will go through this with you. I've gone through it, and they're just like,
I've done it.
What are you comfortable with? And there's like a questionnaire.
Correct.
It's not even just like a yes or no question or whatever. There's a questionnaire, even if you don't know your level of risk.
Correct.
Where it helps to lead you there.
And the challenge I see is people asking you to go through the questionnaire, but you have no knowledge of what your risk tolerance is, because you don't understand the concepts they're talking about. So you say you pump your brakes and you become more conservative than you need to be. And then they put you into something very conservative, which is what you said you wanted. And 10 years from now, it's gone up 25 cents.
Wow.
And then you're like complaining at the bank. No, the bank did their job. It's called a Know Your Client, KYC. So what I do when I do that is I say, let me explain to you the different types of investments and how they move, and what it means to have something from cash all the way to the stock market. And I take you through all the financial concepts. And once I have done that with you, now you can answer the questions intelligently. And when you understand the rule of 72, you will not want to be super conservative when you're in your 20s and 30s. Because you need time to compound. I want you to think about this. let's say people live for 100 years, and you guys should be able to get to 100. My father's 89, and he was born in 1933. This generation should be able to live longer, modern technology, you're more active, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So picture a snowball at the top of a hill. And the top of the hill is 100, 0 years old. You roll that snowball from 0 all the way to 100. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, uninterrupted by tax. This is compound interest. So some of you, your parents didn't put any money into your baby account. You got your birthday money, you bought shoes, you bought whatever you were doing. Some people put the money in the bank saving account and it made 1%. So the snowball never gets larger. It rolls all the way down the hill the same size for a lot of people.
Dang.
But if you learn how it compounds, the difference between saving and investing is saving is liquid. It needs to be there for you to go do something. Maybe an emergency, maybe you want to buy a house or something, so you want to keep it in something very, very low risk because you're going to need the money in a short time period of 1 or 2 years. So you can keep some of that money in savings because you need it, rainy day money, whatever. But for the money you don't need, you have a longer time horizon, like to retire. So some of you in your 30s, let's say you're 35 years old and you're going to retire at 65. That's 30 years. Do you think the market's going to change over the next 30 years? Of course it's going to change. So if the market's going to change over the next 30 years, and you have no kids, you have no house, no car, now's the time. Warren Buffett is known to make, on average, Warren Buffett, one of the richest guys on the planet, 7 to 8%. 7 to 8%, Warren Buffett. But he does it consistently.
Damn.
Rule of 72. 72 divided by 7 means the money doubles every 10 years. So in a couple of years, when Warren Buffett's money is 84 billion, hits the 10-year mark, it's going to double from 84 billion to 168 billion. Not because he's smart, but because compounding has that snowball coming down the hill to year 100. He's at 89, and he's been doing it since he was 10 years old.
Jeez.
That's a big snowball.
Jeez.
There's a guy out there that's one of his disciples. He earns 22% a year.
Whoa.
22% a year, consistent. 3 times better than Warren Buffett. But he's not a billionaire. You know why? His money hasn't compounded long enough.
Damn.
Touch him, essentially.
He's earning 22%. He's gonna get there, but he's in his 60s. Warren Buffett's in his 80s. He's compounded twice.
Damn.
You understand? Wow. So if you put $100 in when you've got your first job, and if you could put more is better. But if you could put $100 in, and you could get 7-8% of that money, by the time you're in your 60s, you'll have over $1 million. $100 a month, at 7-8%, it will be over $1 million when you're 65. So why are people struggling when they're 65? Because they didn't start compounding when they were 21, 22.
Right. They started too late.
Yeah.
Now, you can do that in your 20s. This is you as an adult. But imagine if your snowball started when you were born.
Damn.
And this is what we're doing for clients now. Anybody has a baby, you start that thing 15 days after the baby's born, and it's millions of dollars.
Question, again, for the people that might not be so clear. Who is we when you're talking about this is what we're doing? You're definitely not a bank.
No, I work for...
I don't understand it. Like, we need people to know the difference so that when they're going to the bank... I don't want people running to the bank and thinking that now they got their salvation.
So
you know what I mean?
There's two things. There's two things.
Shout out to Alan.
If you're on the bank side, you have access to a lot of products and tools, and that's great.
Right.
And the bank does a great job of asset accumulation.
Right.
You want to make money and you don't care about the tax implications, banking is for you. On the insurance side, if you want to make money and have that money protected so it goes to your family uninterrupted by probate. You guys familiar with probate?
No, what's that?
Probate is when you die in the province of Ontario, the province of Ontario wants 1.5% of your estate as a probate fee tax for dying as an Ontarian. So if you have $1 million estate, you'll pay $15,000 in probate fees if your money is in a bank. But if your money is in an insurance company, you bypass probate and don't have to pay that 15%. If your money is in a bank, a creditor can put a hold or a lien against that money for them to be satisfied. If your money is with an insurance company, you bypass creditors. If you have your money in a bank and you we also have something called estate taxes. So Bob Marley is still in probate. From 1983 till now, 39 years and counting.
What?
Aretha Franklin is still in probate.
What?
Prince just finished probate. Chadwick Boseman just finished probate. Because these people all died without wills. Michael Jackson had probate, but his beneficiaries, he had a will, and the money went to his mother and his 2 kids. So if you go into probate, the money that you have in your bank account will be held until the government is satisfied and probate ends, which could be 6 months or 39 years in the case of Bob Marley. That means no one's getting their money to the degree that they should because probate is being delayed because certain things are not being satisfied. They're trying to make sure, because they only get one shot, they're trying to make sure they're taxing everything in the estate. And Bob Marley has, I think, 11 children, so it's difficult for him to work it out. So what I want you to understand is the bank can make you money,
Right.
but a bank cannot protect you from these 3 things. On the insurance side, I can also make you money, but I definitely can protect you from those 3 things, and the money will be paid out to your named beneficiaries within 30 days. And the beneficiaries, whoever you have on your investments, as who you want the money to go to if you're not here. So you have a choice between the 2. The banks will never let you know. The insurance companies can do that tax-free because the fix is in, but the insurance companies can do that.
Whew. Damn.
Is that fair?
So your insurance side, if we're gonna, I want to draw lines in the sand.
we
So
gotta
that we can
simplify
talk
it.
about-
I am insurance side, but on the insurance side, I can do investments, and those investments bypass probate, bypass creditors, and bypass estate tax. And I can get you, for the most part, in the non-equity space, I can get you the same returns as the banks, for the most part.
All right.
Someone's coming to the mic.
If somebody comes to the mic, I didn't see it.
There we go.
Hi, how you doing?
What
I
up,
just
what
have
up?
a question. I could be jumping the gun, and I apologize in advance if I am. But in terms of combining your finances with your spouse,
Yes.
I think that's something that's happening across
a good
our
question.
age range.
Our generation,
People are getting married, they're coupling up, and
Sure.
honestly, I feel like it's an asset, especially as Black people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not to quote Bebe's kids, but I can't think of anything else right now. We don't die, we multiply. We just keep having them, and we keep building.
Right.
Not just having them, but building with these extensions of our tribe. And so my question is, and something that I think we've been focused on in the last year for sure, and I know a lot of people, like I said, in our age range are doing the same thing, is like, what's the smartest way about going into it with one another, taking what you got and what I got, and now we're combining it. And how do we move forward in trying to, like, we're compounding already, right?
Right.
By just like adding our assets together, but how do we like double down on that compound? Like, what is your best advice on first steps, I guess? Yeah.
Great question. So the question is, we're married. How do we combine? The Wonder Twins combine forces, and I'm sure my age. Listen.
Jeez.
How do we combine our resources to get it done? So, I met my girlfriend / wife now.
She's still your girlfriend.
Still my girlfriend, but she's my wife.
I like it. I like it.
That's
I like
beautiful.
it. I rate it.
That's how you keep it real.
I rate it. I rate
Shout
it.
out.
I rate it.
So
I rate it.
this ring is 30 years old,
Jeez.
and I got it when I was at Humber College
Hey.
between semesters.
Yeah, Hawks fly high.
Okay.
Shout out to Humber.
Yes.
When you are young and you're starting out with $0, which is where we were, having one account for both of us made sense because we're building from scratch ourselves. When you come into marriage in your 20s or 30s and you maybe already have established an investment style and investment pattern, what I'm seeing today is she has her account, you have your account, and there's a household account.
Right.
And every month people take their money from their separate accounts, throw it into the household account, and pay all the bills.
Right.
That seems to be the way to get it done today in modern times.
Right.
Now, if I were to, first of all, here's a stat. Nobody wants to hear, but it's a stat anyway. 59% of all marriages end in divorce. So if you have a 60% chance of this thing breaking up, when you have everything commingled, it's hard to unmingle it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So by having those two separate accounts, even though the law of the marital averages are against you, it's the cleanest way to run it, because you may have separate risk tolerances.
Right.
Some people in the marriage are savers. Some people in the marriage are spenders. You don't want the spender having access to the saver's account because they're going to spend.
Money gone.
Right?
Yeah.
And the saver's going to be vexed every time a new pair of Jordans comes out and you get the Jordans rather than buying the investment.
Right.
So by having it separate, say, listen, this is what we're going to do for the household. Right? You're going to have an RSP if it makes sense. You're going to, both of you should have TFSAs.
Right.
And before you look at anything else, you should be maxing out the TFSA, because it's the only defense against tax you have on the banking side. On the insurance side, you have multiple other things that you can do to avoid tax, but on the banking side, the TFSA is the only defense against taxes after the money has already been taxed.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So, to answer your question, her account, his account, our account to run the business for the household. You invest at your level of risk, he invests at his level of risk, and you see who wins after 2-5 years. Then you can readjust. Every year you look to modify. You may come in very, very conservative because you don't know,
Right.
and you're not sure. But after explanations and seeing how it works over time, people's risk tolerance usually increases, because you guys have the most time now. Think about this. 2020 to 2022, the markets are not good, volatile, very, very dangerous. But this is a buying opportunity. Now at the time, if you could buy Nikes at full price or Nike half price, which you prefer?
Half
Yeah,
price.
Half price. So
Half price all
if
the time.
that works at the Nike store, why doesn't it work in the market?
That's true.
So you should be buying better stuff, cheaper, and more of it, because when it turns, and it always has for 100 years, when it turns, we don't know when, I'm not Nostradamus, but when it turns, you will have more of the good stuff at a cheap price, at a discount.
I like it.
2008 to 2010, what happened? The market went backwards, right? How long is that? 12 years. Y2K, what happened? The market went backwards. 1990, what happened? The market went backwards. 1980, what happened? The market went back. You understand? It's a cycle.
Right.
It's a pattern, and those who recognize the pattern
Succeed.
will win if you execute against the pattern. So we're in that pattern again, and the best of the best out there can't predict the future, but what they do know is, if you know how to evaluate companies and know how to evaluate the track record of returns, the past does not equal the future. No one can guarantee you, because it did 17 last year, it's going to do 17 this year. But if you have a 10-year history of this thing doing 15, chances are it might do somewhere around 15 versus your 0.1% of your savings account. 72 divided by 15 is a good number. It's a short number, right? A couple of years. And that's what you want in your favor. I'm not saying everybody needs to go balls to the wall, but I'm saying you need to be closer to balls to the wall than you are towards Granny's mattress.
I thought
Okay.
I appreciate
that.
Rhyme, yeah.
Thank you so much for answering that in such detail. I feel very helpful.
Thank you.
That was very helpful. But my question is, like, I don't really fuck with, like, most marriages are gonna end in divorce, so have your shit separate. Like, that's not really my frame of thought.
Sure.
And I respect from a financial frame of thought of, like, being I guess proactive in making sure that it's not an issue if this is an issue. For me, my frame of thought is like, we're married, and when you marry someone, it's like a forever thing. I don't have this new age frame of thought, like, if it don't work out, we could just be like, bye, and then we could just find somebody else. I don't fuck with that. I'm like, we said yes, there is no divorce, we figure it out.
That's great.
And we make that shit happen, and that means financially and every other way. We make that shit happen together as a unit.
Right.
So if one person is more of a spender and one person is more of a saver, to your point, motherfuckers gotta get aligned.
Right.
We gotta get aligned then, right? And like, we have to figure out how this works for our team
Yes.
best, and how we can amend our behaviors that are on the same course of action and, you know, with the same vision in mind.
No, I don't disagree
So
with that.
my question is the only benefit to having these separate accounts and making sure that we're, you got your own, I got my own, and we've got our household thing going on, is the only benefit to that in case this shit doesn't work out?
No.
Or is there some financial benefit
No,
to that? Like, can we make more money? Because I'm down to have a separate account if we can make more money. You know what I mean? But I'm not down if it's because 59% of marriages end in divorce, because that don't got nothing to do with me and mine.
Right.
We not ending in divorce.
Yeah.
Period.
Fair
That's
enough.
something we've decided. So that's not a benefit for me. So I'm wondering, is there a financial benefit? Because I'm down for that.
Yeah, so usually, good points, good questions. The challenge here is risk tolerance, right? If someone is balls to the wall and the other person is conservative and you have it in one account, I can balance it so you have some for each of you, but I hurt the one who wants to go balls to the wall, and the one who is conservative can't sleep at night.
Right.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Cause conflict.
Correct.
Exactly. And that will
Correct.
Exactly.
So you're stressing. Now,
For no reason.
Yeah.
so our RSPs are individual
Right.
accounts.
Right.
Tax-free savings accounts
Are
are individual
individual.
accounts.
Yeah.
There is no marital account. The marital account would be your savings account
Savings.
for emergencies, for vacations, and for, we want a new car, whatever. And, we want to go to decent restaurants and we want to do couple spa nights and that kind of stuff. You're going to have that money in a joint account, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that makes sense. But to your point, having the risk tolerance the same. Now, if we do the risk tolerance and both of you are the same and you want to combine the investments, you really can't do that in a TFSA or RSP. It's still going to be individual, right? So A's money is A's money, B's money is B's money. There is no A and B money in one account other than the joint checking and joint savings accounts, which earn trash.
Doo-doo.
Doo-doo.
Yeah.
Okay? So,
Don't you think that's a game that they're trying to keep people separate?
I don't know if it's
Like, how is it that you can earn more money on an individual account and you have more access to different varieties of earning money on an individual account than you do on a joint account with someone that you're married to?
right. I think that has more
That
to
tells me that the value in money is also placed in the value of separatists and like separating the family. I don't fuck with that. That's crazy.
I mean, look at how.
You gotta pull thought.
Yeah, you gotta come to the
stand.
mic.
I know you do. You're not gonna say one word. You gotta stand.
Look at how the government
in the mic.
Look at how the government takes money from the people. Taxation. It's all about separate. There's a reason why women were so pushed to work. So it gives the government more money to pull from, right? I'm not saying women shouldn't work. I'm just saying, let's be very clear here.
Right.
It's not coincidental that when women went into workforce, government had all this extra money to go do whatever they want with, right? So if you look at it from that standpoint, I mean, if it worked for the government, it should also work for us in that sense.
Right. So we have to look at why women went into the workforce.
No. I'm not saying
In the first place.
Let's be very clear. I'm not saying women should work.
No, I hear you. I'm going to protect you. I'm not saying women shouldn't be in the workforce. What I'm saying is women came into the workforce in droves because of the world wars.
Absolutely.
All the men were gone. Stuff had to be built.
Yeah.
The women came in and built it and said, I like this. Earning my own money and doing my own thing. Because back in the day of the nuclear family, Leave It to Beaver style, you had the father, you had the mother at home, you had the kids, and she was taking care of the home and doing all that. That all changed when the wars came out and the women had to come in, the suffrage movement, when the women got the vote, and so on and so forth. So, and then you enter the feminist movement in the 60s and 70s, and then it's on, and it's equal pay for equal work and so on, and we're still battling with that today. All of that to say that you can combine forces when you see that a husband and wife buy a house, you're both on title. You're both on the mortgage, so you're together. You're doing that together.
Right.
You want to buy a car, and the car you want, and one person's credit is damaged, so you need the other person as a co-signer. You're in that together, right? So there's times when it makes sense to be together, and there's times when you carry it solo. Again, it really depends on the value system of the household. I can't put someone in combined marital RRSP. It doesn't exist. But there is something called a spousal RRSP. So if you have a spouse and that spouse makes more money than the other, they can create an RRSP for the spouse with the lower income, and they will get the tax deduction. So you're married, so let's say you make 100. It is.
Yeah.
Time out. Hold on.
Yeah.
Bring it back. Pull up.
You're telling me
I'm telling you.
that, say I make 100,
Yes.
my significant other makes 50.
Yes. You can put an RRSP.
So,
Yeah, say it in the mic. Say it in the mic. So everybody
no, I'm
listens
just,
to
I'm
it.
just,
Break it down
Yeah.
how you understand it. Go ahead.
100K, 50.
Yes.
My max should be around 30 as 100K.
In max of what?
RSP.
The mic's right here, sir.
My fault. My
Yeah, 18% of your gross.
Okay, so 18K. 50. Oh, wow. Jesus. And that's per year?
Correct. And if she's younger than you,
Oh my
when
God.
you stop contributing at 71,
Right.
and she's younger than you, you can continue contributing under hers
And then that wouldn't have to be converted
until
to
she turns 71.
71. So I don't have to do a riff or
You don't have to riff on hers until she turns 71.
Consciousness.
Oh yeah. You just went from white belt to yellow belt.
Oh
How do
man,
you feel?
how you feel?
And there's more of that to come. So
Maybe I should.
We talking. We talking.
People got like conversations to have after this. I want to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sure before we move on to
Yeah.
everything
No,
else.
this
I didn't
is.
really say anything. I just did the math.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a lot of
That's
nuggets.
amazing
And we can have
information.
we can have this podcast for 4 hours. To be quite
I
honest.
know. We really could. We really could.
And yeah,
We really could.
I want. So we talked about
Yeah.
fresh out of university,
Yep,
setting
yep,
life
yep.
up. We talked about
getting married. Yeah.
setting life up.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the moment where you decide to say, "I'm going to be an entrepreneur."
Yeah. Let's talk about
myself.
it.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
So one of the things we were talking about earlier before this
Just
was
before.
like the idea of people just saying, "Oh, you should get a laptop, write it off. Go buy a car, write it off.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
all of your gas, write it off.
Yes.
All this shit, just
Yeah, yeah.
write that shit off." Means nothing to me.
Yeah, what does that
It
mean?
means
Everyone
absolutely
always
nothing
says
to me
that,
because I don't know that I don't know what to like. What is that?
Yeah, what does
I
that mean?
literally
What
don't know.
am I
what
writing
that
this down and say,
means.
"Yep,
then
wrote."
On top of that, I've also heard, which I think it might be part of what you're going to tell us, is you can't just have a business account or a business that makes no money,
Correct.
and then start writing off a Range Rover.
Correct.
So what is this whole writing
Yeah.
off?
What is this?
Okay,
mean?
so let's start. If you're an entrepreneur and all you do
Yeah.
is make money as an entrepreneur, you do not have a T4, raise your hand in the room.
If you don't have a T4,
You don't have a T4. All you have is your business.
Oh, I know. I have
Yeah.
it.
Okay,
got it.
perfect.
Coco doesn't
W2,
have a T4.
W2,
She's not from here.
Oh, okay.
Right? She has that. She has that.
Right. So, if you're an employee, the company asks you to fill in a form from CRA, and they take off a standard amount of tax off your paycheck. There's a hack. You can tell them to take off less money off your taxes. You can go to get a form from CRA and say, listen, you're taking off X. I don't want you to take off X. I want you to take off almost a little less than X. Maybe $200. Why? Because the $200 that would have gone to tax, you can put in your RRSP.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, it's tax deferred.
Correct.
Right.
2, when you are a T4 employee, the company does the taxation for you. So
Right.
they take off the tax, they take off the CPP, they take off the OAS, they take off EI, they take all the deductions, and then you get paid.
Right.
And that's your net.
Right.
When you're an entrepreneur, you get the gross
thing.
at
Yeah.
source.
Yes.
Then you deduct your business expenses. Then you pay tax.
So,
Scary when it's the first time you're doing it.
Yeah.
So essentially, as an employee, you get taxed first.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, you
You
tax
last after. Yeah,
Right.
you got to save. You be ready for it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the government rewards businesses and
Right.
penalizes you because you have no place to hide as a T4 employee. Yet, 80-20 rule, Pareto's law, 80% of the people in Canada are employees and 20% are entrepreneurs because they make entrepreneurship seem like black magic.
Yes.
Therefore, you're like,
Yes.
black magic?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm not going to jail for tax evasion, right?
Right. Right.
So very simply, when someone says you're going to write it off, I have a business. The business has to have more revenues than expenses in order for you to have the ability to deduct business expenses. But in your setup, the government will give you up to 3 years. And I'm not an accountant, but the government will give you up to 3 years to show that you're doing something to make money. Right? You're trying to make money, but you haven't made any money yet. But you need the accoutrement, you need to set up. Right? So you got to buy mics, you have to buy laptops, you buy these things. Well, these things you need to be able to get back on your taxes. But you can defer those things into further years. So if you have no revenue in year one, and you bought these things, you can wait till you have revenue down the road, and you should be able to take those deductions off. Again, I'm not an accountant, but I've seen people do that.
Okay.
The magic number 3, right?
3 years. So the government's going to look at you, you got 3 years, you're not doing anything, they're going to say, shut it down. Because you're sending these zero returns or trying to send a negative. We see what you're doing. No. Shut it down. And they will not. Now, do they do that on the 3 years? Depends on how busy they are and what else is going on. But what you want to do is, whenever there's a personal expense versus a business expense, you need to have a true separation of church and state. Keep your personal stuff personal. Have a personal account, have a business account. You want to buy a laptop, buy it from the business account. You get money for doing a gig or whatever you're doing to make money, and it's business related, put it in the business account. Separate, keep it clean. You have a credit card for business expenses, for business lunch, put it on the business account, and then it's easier and cleaner for you to do the accounting at the end of the year. Here's the first rule of Fight Club. There's no Fight Club. But also, the first rule of business is you do not want to commingle the expenses, and you do not want to go it alone. Get an accountant and get set up. So if you don't have an accountant, if you're making any money as a T4 employee, and I would say north of $70,000 a year, if you have simple taxes, she has a tax return, you have a tax return, you can use TurboTax and you can do your thing because you have no side hustle, nothing going on, then TurboTax is probably fine, or whatever tax software is out there. But if you have anything going on and you're setting up a business, you want to make sure you set it up properly to avoid audits. And that is having an accountant tell you when your fiscal year should be. It doesn't have to be January to December. It could be June to June, June to May. Right? When is the best time to set up your company? When should it end? Because everybody knows that corporations can file their taxes up until June of every year. So when's your fiscal year need to be? Probably should be around June, right? Rather than January to December. But those decisions need to be made with an accountant who knows what they're doing to set you up, to position you to win. Should your wife be a director of your company? Because if she's a director of your company, then certain benefits come to her. Right, because you can have loans between directors and different things that you can have going on. Right? So you want to know if that makes sense. Also, if you have partners in the business, you do not want the spouse of that partner, if something should happen to that partner, to come in and say, now I'm the partner. Because his ends is her ends. And she's gonna come in and say, okay, I'm gonna take my spot on the mic. And you're like, well, you're not part of this. You're not a part of this. Right? And and she'll say, yes, I am, because his share became my share. So there's things you can put in place called key person insurance. So if that person meets their maker, you just pay the spouse and the shares go back to the other two. So rather than 33 each, it's now 50-50. Another person dies, you pay the spouse out, and now the company is yours. So there's things you can do to put things in place to prevent.
I'm watching you, yo. I'm watching you, man.
Succession issues. When you have a company. Okay.
Wow. That was awesome. Thank you so much. We can keep going.
This is fire. This is dope.
But I want to keep going, but like with our tone. And if like people want more, they'll know where to get you.
We'll talk about where to find you after.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to relationship. Still finances.
Still finances. Let's go.
Okay.
It's about to get mixed.
So this is from a woman in London. She's dating somebody from here. I'm not sure where, but Canada. But Hannah Chan, who's 27, has a boyfriend who is 22, and he pays 100% of their rent.
Sorry.
That was fast.
That was quick. Really we didn't even get the whole thing. We didn't even get the whole thing. Hold on.
So he pays 100% of their rent, bills, holidays. So anything they do, he is paying for it.
Right.
She says after many failed dates, she decided that she wanted to be with somebody who could provide for her and take the lead. she basically is saying that she's offering quote unquote support. And she is also saying that she's an investment.
Sure. So before you go, I'm gonna say this. That was your household situation until just after Aaliyah. That was my household situation until 2006. I paid 100% of everything.
Damn.
I think the difference...
Cars, house, groceries, everything. The money was in a joint account. I said, if you're going to spend more than $1,000, give me a holler. But other than that, free reign. Because we have absolute trust between each other. And we were on the same page in our values to move our family forward. So my wife was a stay-at-home mom because daycare in Ontario is teething, guy. It's $500 a child per week. So I was like, that's $1,000 a week. That's $4,000 a month. That's $48,000 net money after tax. I said she got to make $65,000 to net just to pay daycare. I said, bond that. I said, would you like to stay home? She goes, I would love to stay home. I said, done.
I love that.
That makes sense.
That is different though. That's different. That's different.
I think the difference is with this situation. Kids is the easiest way to call out the difference here.
Right.
I think just generationally, I look at this and I kind of know what it is. Like this doesn't. I don't feel like
scheming.
Hannah is planning.
Nah.
I mean, she might be planning to have kids and all that, but like, I don't think the intention is the same as both husband and wife. You and your generational time coming together and say, you know what? Instead of spending $65K a year for daycare, stay at home and take care of things while I take care of things over here, and we'll all. It is a true investment.
That's what she neither.
We're talking about a team effort versus a trophy wife.
Yeah,
and that's
different. That's different.
Yeah.
That's
so
different.
the customs have changed in terms of like the morals changing and like the values changing, and like right now where it's at and where it's been for a while is, girls want to just like I don't want to say girls, people, because we got non-binary and transgender and everything in between, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a very diverse spectrum. So a lot of people would rather do what they think is quote unquote nothing, staying at home and be a cute trophy wife and hang out and have someone pay their bills. So that's actually not what was going on with your mom. That's not what was going on with Miss Angie. That's not how it happened. People were working equally in separate parts as a partnership to make shit rock. And that is very different than being like, I think it's cute if I'm just like Kylie and I'm at home and I'm like recording videos. Yeah. It's like, well, bitch, you're not making any money or any moves off that. And if you can, great. If you can, great. And like let's get money and let's
start
build.
A podcast
but
while
like,
you're at home.
So that's the difference for me.
What does a 22-year-old do for a living?
Yeah, what does she? Oh, we don't know.
I don't get the details. I'm just looking off of what I see and just a couple of posts that I have. It doesn't seem as much.
What are the value systems of the people that we're talking about? Because I can tell you,
aesthetically, I don't see any value.
There's like superficial.
Pictures worth 1,000 words. I think that if that's their value system and that's how they came up, man does all the heavy lifting, whether there's kids or not, to prepare her for staying home to have a family. Maybe that's cool. I don't know. It just the age difference is 5 years is immaterial in 10 years.
No.
Yeah, it's not that much. Right? Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have enough information. But off at first glance, it looks predatory.
Well, that's it.
Brittany Renner?
Brittany Renner.
Yeah, Brittany Renner. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's just
At least the kids gonna have to do credit automatic shit.
I mean,
we haven't even talked about credit because some of us were buying on those HBC credit cards back in the day, and then we wanted to go buy a house.
Nope.
We're over.
Nope, don't fall for it.
We got a question.
What is the advice for those prioritizing debt repayment and also need to save? What's your advice? Because that's the reality for many people to do both.
100%. 100%. So here's what I know. If you have MasterCard and Visa and every other card and everybody's begging you money,
Consolidate?
No matter what you owe, you owe it to yourself to pay yourself first.
Amen to that.
If you're gonna pay people you don't know,
right,
you better pay yourself first, because you know what? Listen, compounding is like Floyd Mayweather. It's undefeated. And you cannot allow yourself to not have any compounding for any number of years, regardless of what OSAP has to say about it or what these credit cards have to say. First rule, if you have a bag of debt, the student loan you can't do anything about, but the student loan doesn't count against you when you want to buy a house.
Right.
2, if you have a bunch of credit card debt and they're licking you down at 19.9 and you got a travel card 21.9, you got an Avion card or whatever card and it's 24.9, you're getting licked down because you know the rule of 72, that's a 3-year double on you, right? You know that's happening. You say, hey, maybe I don't need a travel card because all I'm doing is going to Center Island, right? I don't need a travel card. I'm going to Square One. That's my vacation. Whatever. You need to get rid of the things, the cards that are high fees and high interest that you're not leveraging.
Right.
Now, if it's a Costco card and Costco is your jam, then maybe you keep the Costco card. If it's a cashback card, it's cashback and you have to pay a fee for that, great. But you have to look at the value of the benefits of the cards that you have and try to get yourself to a no-fee card that has 0 benefits or maybe cash back at a fair interest rate. First thing you can do is go to your bank and say, listen, get rid of this idiot card and give me another one of your cards, but keep my credit history. Because a portion of your credit score is based on how long you've had the card. So when they give you a card at Slumber College, at 18, I still have that card. I'm no longer 18, but I still have that card. That's credit history.
Yes.
Then you have to look at credit payments. You cannot miss a payment.
Nope.
Okay.
Make those payments.
Even if it's minimum.
Make
you
those
cannot
payments.
miss a payment. And you cannot be late on payments. So if you deal with the Green Bank and you have a Blue Bank card and you're paying through the Green Bank, there's going to be a 24 to 48 hour delay. So pay it 2 days early.
Yes.
And then they'll be on time because they have to process in the back end.
Yes.
You do not want more than 30% of your limit on your card.
Right.
You got a $1,000 card, $300. You get the $300, throw the card away, put it in the ice. Don't use it until you get it below $300. Why? Because if it goes above 30%, your credit rating will drop.
Damn.
Okay?
Damn.
Then you want to look at the type of credit you have. There's installment credit, which is like buying a car.
Right.
Buying an appliance and paying monthly for it. And then there's revolving credit, which is much easier to do bad damage to your credit. You want to make sure that the type of credit you have also counts towards your score. So the amount of debt you have, if it's above 30%, how long you had it, are you paying on time, are you paying late, are you missing payments, all those things are working your score and you're trying to get above 800. So if your score is above 800, raise your hand, give me 2 snaps. If it's below 700, we have a challenge with getting a big bank to give you a mortgage. Small banks, tier 2, schedule B, will give you a loan. 680 is a magic number. If your credit score is below 680, you're going to have challenges. Your car payment's going to pay more interest. Your mortgage is going to pay more interest. Everything you want in life is going to cost you more if your credit score is below 680. You can repair it. Go to your bank and say, listen, give me a card that has a 10, 11, or 12% interest card. Pay it off to 0. Use it and pay it off to 0. If you need to establish credit, pay a little more than the minimum and drag it out for 3, 4, 5 months at a time, and then you've established your credit. Different things you can do, and I have a course that I do that's a little more in depth. But credit. Listen, people are doing things in their 20s that will kill them. When you see the house of your dreams, and you go to apply, and they say your credit is trash. Because you didn't know what you were doing. And, Bun Rogers. I'm not paying Rogers. Because it went. Rogers will bun you. Right? Rogers is waiting for you not to pay that bill. If you have a dispute with anybody, pay the bill. While you're settling this. If you hear anything tonight that's of value, pay your bill. And do your dispute on the side. Do not stop. I'm not going to pay them. They'll pay it and then work it out. They'll take care of you. They're a big company, a publicly traded company. They have ombudsmen and different people watching. But pay that card because that will kill you in your 20s and 30s. Credit's a big deal in the black community. We have a challenge because people don't know the deal. Question.
Speaking as someone who didn't know the deal, obviously there's far less of an importance and information placed on credit and financials in different countries.
Right.
And definitely in certain tribes is what I like to call them. And my question is, you've given some tips out, right?
Yeah.
And that I think has been very helpful and enlightening. And so when you're referring to go to the bank, tell them to give you this so you could pay off this, and make sure they transfer over your credit. What if it's not the best? What if you don't want them to transfer over and you're trying to get a new situation to make something pop? Is there a way to make that pop, or is it the only way is to transfer over your own maybe muddy history and like try to pay that down?
Right. So great question. So the good news is you come from a foreign land, and because you came from a foreign land, you have no credit in this land.
I'm Gucci over here, baby. I'm just asking for the rest of the Americans that might be listening.
Exactly. So,
you know what I mean? I made it, baby.
because you have no established credit here, your score is non-existent. You have a U.S. score, and that's a FICO score. I can't remember what FICO stands for, but FICO, you can Google it. What I would look at doing is, if you want to establish credit here, you can get a secured card, or get a card with a small balance from your spouse that has good credit, and allow that to reestablish your credit up here. So you give her a card with $1,000, and you treat it like you respect it, and you pay those bills on time, and you'll establish Canadian credit by having a card through.
Okay, so what if you're Canadian and you're trying to do that though?
Same thing.
You just need I'm saying, like, what if you are Canadian and you've had this experience where you say you go into the bank, you say, I need to do a different card that's going to give me a different interest and like give me these assets, but I also need to transfer my previous credit status so that I can continue as a person that's been establishing history. Right? So I'm Canadian, not me. I'm saying, like, you know, as a person asking, how does that, is there another way to go about that to where, like, let's say that your previously established history is not of the most positive nature. Like, how do I...
You can rebuild it.
As that, what is the best course of action for that? How do I get out of these other high interest rate situations, these jailhouses, really, and, like, establish myself immediately? Like, what's the quickest route?
Right. So immediately is not going to happen, but
as immediately it's not going to happen.
But you can reestablish credit by doing something called a consumer proposal. So if your credit is like trash, like it's below 600 and trending towards 500, it's already pretty damaged. You're not going to be able to do anything with that. So you can look at a consumer proposal, and what that basically is having a third party take a look at everything you have, and they will go and negotiate with all your creditors and say, listen, she can not pay it and you can write it off, or I can get you 25 cents to the dollar. They'll say, we'll take the 25 cents. So you may owe $10,000, and they will say, we'll settle for $2,500. So I had a lady, she had $42,500 in credit card debt, and she did a consumer proposal with me, and she got that down to $8,500. She was paying $150 a month, and that freed up her cash flow to the tune of, because she was paying almost $900 a month in credit card bills just at minimums. And she went from $900 to $150. She pays that for 5 years, and in the 5 years, her credit is reestablished at gold over 800.
Wow.
So it's a 5-year run.
Wow. Okay.
Now, if you pay it off early, because now the proposal's in place, you pay the proposal off early, they will reestablish the credit 1 year after you pay off the proposal. So if you pay off the proposal in 2 years, 3-4 years later, your credit is back up to gold standard, and you save yourself a couple of years.
True.
So the consumer proposal is one way to do it. There's something also called a debt consolidation, where they take a look at all your debt, and they say, listen, 21 here, 19 here,
Easier
27 there.
It's all in one place.
Bring it all down to one price of whatever their interest rate is, but it's usually less than what you're paying now, and you pay that one creditor that one amount, and that frees up a little bit of cash again for you to pay yourself first, as well as frees up the cash flow for you to do other things. That is really going to be dependent on your character. Credit's about character. I give you this card, and I hope that you pay the card back and have high character. If you do, I give you more credit. Hey, I'm going to raise your limit. Because your character is where I want it to be. I like you. But if you are not someone of character, credit is an easy indicator which is why all landlords, first thing they do is check your credit. Because if your credit is trash, chances are you're going to treat my place the same way.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of...
It's your character. It's who you are.
Yeah, fully related.
It's pretty addictive.
So there's a number of... bankruptcy is also one of the things you can do. But again, bankruptcy is heavy-handed. You still owe the debt. You just get them to stop calculating all the interest. But you still... If you have $100,000 that you owe and you declare bankruptcy, you still owe $100,000. You just stop calculating interest. You still have to pay it. Like you're in bankruptcy. And you can keep some of the other things you have. Keep your car, keep your house, and some things are in and some things are out. It's not a full debit. Donald Trump's been bankrupt 2-3 times.
Yeah.
He does it when he needs to do it because it's a strategy for him. But I don't recommend it because it's a 7-year, nuclear winter on your credit, and that's a long time if you want to do things in life. So first thing I would look at is if your credit's really, really bad, and in Ontario, for the people in Ontario, 7 years after your student loan, you had a student loan. At the end of 7 years, you can walk away from your student loan after 7 years if you've been out of school 7 years.
What?
Whoa. One more time.
No, I didn't think I was getting to that because I'm almost done and it's
After
over 7 years.
You can walk away, huh?
Yeah.
Walk away from the
you know what?
unforgivable?
Yep, they have that in America too.
Yeah, 7 years if you don't pay. You
I can stop?
You can get rid of it.
Yeah, if something is in holding
without-
for X amount of years, it is just certain things are just like they don't matter.
Without penalization?
There's a penalty. You got to take your hit.
Oh, you made it seem like it was cool. Like, never mind.
Everyone's like, hold on, wait, what?
No.
There's no free lunch.
There's no something for nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, if your student loan is killing you, you can get that into the proposal as well after 7 years. But if you have it under 7 years, there's nothing you can do. It's staying there. They want their money.
Damn. Yeah, they gonna get their money. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
student loan is unforgivable. Unforgivable.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you gave us a lot. Even the student loans thing, that was something I didn't think that we were going to talk about. I really appreciate that point.
Yeah.
If I'm any of those people at any of those stages that we just discussed, and again, thank you so much for going through all of this in as much detail as you did. And as little time, to be quite honest, 'cause like I said, you can keep going. How would somebody get in contact with somebody like you, or even just you?
Yeah.
Sell yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
This is Instagram is what is it, at Wayne Harris World. You can use LinkedIn, Wayne Harris. I'm with a company called World Financial Group, and we're brokers. We're all across Canada and the United States. We're the largest broker in Canada. 50% of all licenses in Canada are issued to our company.
You fucking right.
We're growing. I like that. Scared me a little bit. What I recommend is I'm happy. I'm licensed in Quebec, Ontario, Manitoba, Alberta, and BC. Looking at Nova Scotia, I have a young lady in Nunavut that I'm looking at as well. So maybe I'll get licensed in those two provinces. But a licensed advisor is someone who has a fiduciary duty to you as a client to do the right things in the right way, because they can lose their livelihood by losing their license by leading you down the wrong path. Right. But somebody who's a pundit on Instagram who is not licensed is there to get likes and may not be working your best interest. And if they do something like Susu, you have no recourse. Right. Because they're like, hey, I told you I wasn't an advisor. You lost all your money. Oh well.
Damn. So I shouldn't reply to any of those Forex investors,
or the crypto people who start following you. Yeah. Listen, crypto is going to be a big part of the future as the democratization of money happens. Yep. If you want to mess with it, go for it. Just understand that you should not put all your eggs, 10% of what you have. Yeah. Right. That's after you've maxed out your TFSA with Canadian dollars. That's after you've maxed out your RSP, so you can get the $35,000 for the first-time buyer program. And if you have a spousal RSP, it's $35,000 for you, $35,000 for her. That's $70,000 to put down on a house. Plus, Trudeau has other programs in place for you to buy a house. There's also rent to own. So there's a lot of options to get a house, even though the market is the way it is. But we want you to understand one thing. If death is undefeated, and most of you have insurance on these devices that I see here. Every device here that we're on probably has insurance. Someone comes and teeth it, You have home insurance for that.
Right.
You have insurance on your mobile phones. You have insurance on the apartment. You have tenant insurance. So you should have tenant insurance, because if there's a flood or fire, all this extra stuff here, the owner would have to have homeowner's insurance, because all the upgrades other than the original are on the owner, not on the building. The building's going to put back in the basic stuff. That's their responsibility. Anything above the basic is the owner. But the owner's going to replace his stuff. Your laptops and stuff is not on his policy. It's on your policy. So you have to have your own tenant insurance. It's like $30 for a condo.
Yeah.
For 25 grand.
Yeah.
There's 25 grand on this table. You understand? So we need to have those things in place. So if your phone has insurance, your car has insurance, and they're mandatory for some of those things, car insurance and sometimes tenant insurance for buildings like this, you have to have it. But it's not mandatory for life insurance.
It's crazy, which is crazy.
Yet everybody dies.
Right?
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Wayne Harris.
That's crazy. Wayne's World.
Thank you so much for joining us, of course.
That's my IG. At Wayne's World.
That's fire.
The world general speaking.
Jeez. Oh man, done already, eh? No, this is crazy, man. Patrick Dentistry on everything. Appreciate the love. Everyone tuning in and listening, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yes.
Shop like Shaq. You waste you.
Make sure you guys take a look out at Shea Moisture.
Shea Moisture, man.
Shea Moisture CA stuff next week.
Oh yeah. There's stuff. Yeah, there's some stuff coming.
I make real beard.
Oh man, it's crazy.
For all my investments.
Wait, do you want to freestyle?
The way.
Financial freestyle.
Financial freestyle.
Whatever you got off the top.
RRSP in the place to be. I'm Wayne Harris from ATG. Full-time bets in Burgundy.
Hey man, that's my dad's block.
Yeah. Don't kill him.
The battle rap.
Don't kill him.